What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about it. On this channel, I talk about my own personal experience from courtroom corruption to police brutality and more. If this is the type of content that you like or you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. So I wanted to make this video and share with everyone this mysterious email that John David Ekpenyong had gotten his hands on. And you're not going to believe this story. This was an email I had sent to the Crown's office 10 years ago in a separate matter. Was never part of my affidavit or disclosure. I was basically asking the Toronto West Crown's office for a bail variation so I could live at my condo in Toronto and not my surety, my grandmother in Burlington. I had a job working in Brampton and it was just a disaster. So I had sent an email to the Crown's office asking for a bail variation. It was never put in my disclosure. It was never an affidavit. Fast forward 9 years later, I get dragged into that vexatious litigant application. After an application left at my door, which is improper service, 3 motions started by John David Ekpenyong and his client. Never confirming any motions, which is a rule. There's failure to not filing your confirmation of motion. They still went ahead anyways. And while I was on the stand at this ridiculous rigged proceeding, John David Ekpenyong hands me this email. It was never part of any of his affidavits. It was nothing. He surprised me with this email while I'm on the stand being asked ridiculous questions before Justice Ian Smith, who was presiding. As I'm being asked questions from Ekpenyong, he hands me this email. And the email was this bail variation. And I was puzzled that this was given to me while on the stand. I objected for this item to be entered as an exhibit, and Justice Ian Smith allowed it. Which is just bizarre. So many bizarre things happened in this courthouse, and this happened to be another one of them. Another one of these events. And Justice Smith, he accepted this email as an affidavit. Well, the question still remains is where did Ekpenyong get this email? I'm doing this video because I have exhausted every option to get an answer. And still to this day, nobody knows. From judges, the prosecutor, the Law Society of Ontario, all of them collectively refuse to simply ask Ekpenyong, where did he get this email? So I'm going to go in a chronological order of events that surrounds this bizarre story with Ekpenyong and this email. John David Ekpenyong got his hands on a confidential email I sent to the Toronto West Crown's office in May of 2016. This email was never part of my disclosure, nor was it a part of any affidavit I submitted in my 2016 case, and also Ekpenyong and his client's vexatious litigant application. This was a confidential email that somehow John David Ekpenyong got his hands on, and nobody knows where or how he got this email. Judges, Crown attorneys, the Law Society of Ontario all refused to investigate where Ekpenyong got this email or to investigate this live issue, because that's what it is. This is the same lawyer who destroyed my finances with over $300,000 in fraudulent court costs for hours never worked, money never exchanged hands. This is the same lawyer who tried to put me in jail through family court, through various motions of contempt. He served me 4 times, motion of contempt. And the first time he served me was at this vexatious litigant hearing, motion, March 21st. Before the proceeding started, my ex and Ekpenyong are walking in, and honestly, before they walked in, my ex and Ekpenyong went in a private room, and they were seen fixing his tie and fixing his jacket, and I think they were fixing his hair. And it was my girl who actually pointed this out. I couldn't believe that. And then once they came in the hallway, she went in and she said, John, do what you got to do. I didn't know what was going to happen. And this is when he served me this motion of contempt. Those materials are absolutely ridiculous. And I just can't believe, I can believe now how psychotic this lawyer truly is. And when you guys see these materials, it's just going to confirm how unsettling he is, how psychotic, how unhinged this lawyer is. He will not leave me alone. So I'm going to be doing a full video on that whole motion of contempt and the shit that he wrote in there. You guys just aren't going to believe. He just has this pattern of pulling shit out of the air, talking out of his ass. And honestly, it's going to be something to look forward to for sure. This is the same lawyer who froze my bank accounts. The same lawyer who froze my bank accounts and refuses to accept any payment. I can't claim bankruptcy because he's got me in small claims court, and simply because I hurt his feelings. And I'll be doing a separate video on this being sued by John David Ekpenyong in small claims court and how absolutely ridiculous and foolish and unprofessional his materials are. They just look like templates, like they were slapped together from templates. There's no exhibits, nothing. Something else too I want you guys to know about this lawyer is that in 2012 he tried to sue Versa Cold, for a temporary agency, a big refrigerator company that holds goods for stores. He slipped on a box of ice cream. And he tried to sue them for $1 million plus 200,000 punitive damages. You can see this online. He tried to sue them for 1.2 million. He lost at that. He has a client, I believe. I'm not sure if he's the civil lawyer or not, but he has a client, a woman that pleaded guilty to manslaughter in the Kitchener-Waterloo jail, and she's suing the Attorney General for $10 million. Ekpenyong did an interview with the Record at a Waterloo, and it sounds like he's representing her on that. He's got me in small claims for $35,000. These courts want to label people vexatious. They want to label me vexatious. This lawyer is nothing but a vexatious litigant who does not deserve to be practicing law in Ontario, and who is currently being investigated by the Law Society Tribunal for an unrelated matter, where he seems to have ripped through $46,000 from his client's money. And the Law Society is, they're prosecuting. The Law Society Tribunal is currently prosecuting Ekpenyong to revoke his license. So you guys just know this lawyer is just always up to some bad shit, crazy nonsense. And it's incredible what he gets away with. So with this small claims case, this lawyer filed his materials in April of 2025. Around the same time, all these other cases are going that he's starting. And then he serves me in August of 2025. You've seen the emails. He threatens, he harasses, and he's openly admitted to stalking me with a PI. He and his client will not accept payment. They will not unfreeze my bank accounts, and he just will not leave me alone. So this is what I'm left with. It's just going public and sharing this crap that this lawyer's getting away with. Since the top Crown attorneys at the Kitchener-Waterloo Courthouse and the Toronto West Crown's office refused to hold this man accountable for his indictable offenses, I have no other choice but to share with the public what's been happening with this lawyer and these high-paid public servants. Ekpenyong handed me an email while on the stand at this vexatious litigant motion. He left that application at my door, which is not proper service. And if you go to the civil rules, rules of civil proceeding, you go to Rule 16.3, Subrule 5, service at residence, you are not allowed to drop off an application at the door and then go tell the courts that I refuse to accept it. In this case, Ekpenyong told the courts that the server saw me through the peephole and I refused to answer the door, which is absolute bullshit. You guys have seen in previous videos, I have a wreath on the back of my door, and these peepholes you can't even see in them. So it's just so frustrating and so annoying what this lawyer gets away with. The top Kitchener judges knew this wasn't proper service. They still forced me to go to this civil proceeding, this vexatious litigant. Michael Gibson, Michael MacArthur, and Ian Smith. All these three judges, they forced me to attend to these motions. And like I said before, since this pattern of abuse, I've had a witness pretty much every time with me, and my girl has been a witness at all these appearances that I just mentioned. December 19th before Justice Gibson, January 9th before Justice MacArthur, who had a 1,000-word pre-written endorsement, kicked me out, and then Justice Ian Smith. They're all aware that Ekpenyong did not file these materials. So these three judges allowed these motions to happen without a confirmation of motion and an application left at my front door. He didn't confirm his attendance, right? So that's Rule 37.10.1, that you must confirm your attendance. Rule 37.10, Subrule 4, effect to failure to confirm. If you don't confirm your motion, they don't commence. These judges still ran them. And it just feels like discrimination. I brought this up to all these judges, and they still ran them. Justice Gibson was pissed off at Ekpenyong because he didn't confirm his motion. Justice MacArthur was pissed off at Ekpenyong because he's screwing around, refuses to let me drop it. And Justice Ian Smith was like very calm and nonchalant. And it's, I'm going to get into that a little bit more, but the stuff that Justice Ian Smith allowed, it's only in the public's best interest to know everything that happened that day. Justice Ian Smith was the presiding judge, and I believe he was instructed to label me a vexatious litigant. 98 days later, on Canada Day long weekend, he finally delivered his endorsement, and he labeled me a vexatious litigant against these two, who refused to let me drop all my cases. This judge seen my materials included several attempts to resolve these matters. They would not let me out of it for the life of me. Again, this is all about pain and suffering with this lawyer and my ex, his client. These two unhinged individuals who have got away with abusing the courts, lying to several judges, submitting fraudulent documents, committing judicial perjury. The list goes on. And it's pretty messed up that these things happen. And they shouldn't happen to people. This is not why the justice system is there, for these things to be allowed to happen. And they're happening, and it's time to talk about it. Justice Smith refused my request for an adjournment, and he forced me to run the motion. This judge went into the chambers for about 30 minutes and he came back. It's pretty obviously he consulted with somebody. There was absolutely no need to go to the chambers. He knew. Justice Ian Smith knew that because of the circumstances, they should not force me to have to represent myself. And thank God my girl was there to witness all this abuse. And I'm convinced Justice Ian Smith consulted with somebody. And again, this all comes down to the family court trial, that rigged trial, where you guys have seen in previous videos all the stuff that they allowed to happen there, the judicial abuse I endured. This judge forced me, not only did he force me to participate in this motion, he forced me as the respondent to start this motion. Generally, the applicant, whoever's presenting the case, starts the case, presents their case. This is what a circus this court has been, okay? Making the respondent present the case, and not thinking it was going to be questioned is absolutely ridiculous. While I was on the stand, John David Ekpenyong hands me this email I sent to the Toronto West Crown's office in 2016. I object to accept this random piece of paper that John David Ekpenyong never filed as an affidavit. Justice Smith again denies my request and accepts this email as Exhibit 5. John David Ekpenyong, at the end of this motion, tries to manipulate Justice Ian Smith at his closing arguments in demanding I be labeled a vexatious litigant and demanding I pay $15,000 plus interest. He had this form already filled out that a judge is supposed to fill out. Like, just this is the crap that Ekpenyong constantly does in court. Tries to manipulate. He lies. He gets away with unsigned, uncommissioned documents. He gets away with handing random pieces of paper to people while on the stand that's not been submitted in an affidavit. He gets away with submitting fraudulent documents. The list goes on. And what's incredible about this is that the top judges in that courthouse are backing this lawyer up with these decisions he's making, these unethical criminal decisions. The top Crown attorneys in that courthouse are protecting Ekpenyong and his client, wasting my time on a private prosecution on a fourth appearance, staying the proceedings. The Law Society is also protecting this lawyer. You should see all the complaints that's been filed against this lawyer and how they've all been dismissed, especially mine. Ekpenyong tries to manipulate the judge by asking him to label me a vexatious litigant right there and demands 15 grand. After I lost this rigged motion, John David Ekpenyong and myself were requested to submit costs. Ekpenyong again submits another fucking fraudulent bill of costs. He's now requesting for $55,000. Him and his client have gotten away with this so many times, he just doesn't care anymore. He's already, he asked for $15,000. And the reality is, I don't even think she paid that. He's lying. My ex is lying. This is called judicial perjury, doing this crap. There's a long list of these things that they're doing that they continue to get away with. This judge, Justice Ian Smith, entertains this fraudulent bill. Another judge out of the Kitchener-Waterloo Courthouse entertains Ekpenyong's fraudulent bill of $55,000 and orders me to pay $35,000. Again, for money never exchanged hands and for hours that was never worked. My small claims case against John David Ekpenyong and his client, who damaged over $20,000 of my property, never filed a defense, got noted in default. I had 2 assessment hearings adjourned. John David Ekpenyong, check this out. John David Ekpenyong files a motion to set aside judgment 24 hours before my second assessment hearing. It was stayed because that deputy judge, Familia, accepted this motion. He even said to Ekpenyong, it's like, you never filed a defense? You got noted in fault? He looked at him like he's just an absolute idiot. He's an absolute moron, and he is. And see, this is the thing. Deputy Judge Familia, he had instructions to do this. Like, this is just outright crap. The small claims court ignored me for 3 months? My paralegal 2 months? Accepting this guy's motion 24 hours before, accepts it, and then they win. The second assessment hearing is stayed because Justice Smith was instructed to label me a vexatious litigant by any means possible, which he did. So in September 2025, I decided to contact the Toronto West Crown's office and inquire about how this email got into John David Ekpenyong's hands. And I'm going to read these emails to you guys because it's important that you guys know exactly the conversations that's happening in these emails. So nothing's a secret. Everything's transparent. So on September 26th, I reached out to their office, the Toronto West Crown's office. I'll put it up on the screen along with the email that only came from their office. I get a response finally on October 7th, and the Toronto Crown Attorney's Office redirects me to 10 Armory, Ontario Courts Justice. I emailed them. They responded back. They're saying that it's not connected with their office, and that it gets so now I send 10 Armory an email. I include the Toronto Crown Attorney's Office email and the Toronto West office email. I'm like, this is what I say to them on October 8th, 2025. Just to be clear, I expect a senior member from your office to explain how John David Ekpenyong obtained a copy of a private email I sent to your office 9 years ago. If your office continues avoiding a direct explanation and drags this out any further, I will be going public with a full story, including the fact that someone from your office leaked this confidential email. So here we are. I'm doing the video. They don't want to. So there's two important emails I get from this office, and this is one of them. This was on October 9th of this year. And a girl named Christina said, Mr. Dobson, we can provide the following update in relation to your inquiry. Our file in respect of your 2016 charges has now been reviewed. There is no indication there within that your 2016 correspondence requesting a bail variation was shared with anybody, including counsel John David Ekpenyong. Out of abundance of caution, we took a further step confirming directly that with Mr. Ekpenyong, he did not request nor obtain any information in relation to your 2016 charges from the Crown's office. Okay, this lawyer just commits an indictable offense. He lies to the office, basically saying he never requested it, never had it in his possession. It was an exhibit at my civil litigation motion. I respond to them that it was accepted as an exhibit. And, I'll just put this up on the screen so you guys can read it. And then here's the other important email they get back to me. October 10th, 2025. Good morning, Mr. Dobson. As indicated previously, the file has been reviewed. No further action will be taken by our office. Please be advised that future correspondence on this issue will not receive a response. So now I'm getting a little bit frustrated. They're just, again, ducking and dodging simple questions. They want to take the steps. This Crown's office wants to take the steps and ask Ekpenyong if he's requested this email or if he's had it in his possession. He said no. Well, if this email was entered as an exhibit in my civil proceeding, where did he get the email? Why can't the Crown have the decency? They've already contacted him. Why can't they have the decency to call back and say, hey, where did you get this email? Because this is a cover-up. They don't want to open up cans that they can't close. And this would be a can that they can't close once they open. Where did Ekpenyong get this email? It's plain and simple. Okay? So this is now, okay, so now on October 9th, the office finally responded to my email sent in September that they spoke with them. I read that. I responded obviously confused with their statements, considering this email was used as an exhibit on March 21st, 2025. I just read that email. On October 10th, I get an email from the Toronto West Crown's office saying they refused to follow up with John David Ekpenyong. I read that email. I was ignored by the Toronto West Crown's office on October 10th, October 13th. So I decided to go directly to the Crown's office on the 15th floor at 10 Armory. I was greeted by two ladies at the front desk. The ones who were snarky with me on the phone, and it might have been this one in the email. I requested to speak to an office manager, and shortly after, an Asian guy came to the front desk. He looked nervous. He didn't say much. And as I'm observing this guy with these two girls, um, he just looked nervous. He was slouched in his chair. He looked nervous. I went to the window. I asked if that was the manager. They said no. He ended up being like the IT manager. Um, so he just looked suspicious. I asked to speak to the office manager, and then the guy came out. About 10 minutes later, a man came around the corner, claimed to be the office manager. He gave me attitude and refused to properly identify himself. He said his name was Shane, and apparently this was his first day as the office manager. As I'm speaking to this guy Shane, he's being like snobbish with me. And I called him out right away. I just said, "You really want to start the conversation this way? Trying to be like slick with me?" Because that's exactly what he was like, how he was behaving. I'm there for service. I'm there just for a simple explanation is how did this lawyer get the email? And I'm not accepting being rejected through email. So I'm talking to them in person right now. I spoke to Shane about the two emails that I just read from their office, identifying that they've contacted Ekpenyong. I had the email that leaked from their office, and then I had the second email about them not contacting me anymore. Obviously, I was upset about this, and I told this manager, whoever he was, that I'm expecting to get a response. If I don't get a response, I'm going to take this to the regional crown attorney. I'm going to take this to the Minister of Justice. I'm going to take this to the Attorney General of Ontario. And, you know, that's when he was observed shaking. I'm not even joking. Like, I need to almost get the cameras, the surveillance from that day. I want to share this with the public. This guy was trembling, holding the papers. He was like this. I'm not even joking. And I felt bad for him. And no part of me is saying that to brag or make fun of him in any way. Because I'm telling you right now, I honestly felt bad for the guy. Because when he was trembling and he was shaking, I'm like, see, there's something not right about this. The IT guy looked nervous. This guy was trembling, holding the emails. And here I am, having a heart. I feel bad for the situation, but in reality, these people don't give a shit about me. They've demonstrated that. These courthouses, these crown attorneys, the Law Society, they have all collectively shown with their actions and their words that they do not give a shit about me. They do not care because it is a cutthroat industry. And basically, to them, it's all about the numbers. They need to have their numbers up. So it is a cutthroat, psychotic industry dealing with these type of public servants. I simply just wanted an explanation on how and who gave this email to John David Ekpenyong. I expected it would take some time. I wasn't expecting anything on that moment. He said he needed time, and he said he needed time. I told him that if I don't get a clear answer, I will be escalating this to the Regional Crown Attorney, Minister of Justice, and Attorney General of Ontario. And to be honest, I did that. You guys will see the emails. They all silenced me, which is pretty bad. It's obviously proven to me you cannot trust these people. They all work together, hand in hand. The police, the prosecutors, the judges, the courts, the court staff. The amount of judicial abuse, malicious prosecution, police brutality, court staff corruption I've endured, it is honestly enough for a fucking goddamn blockbuster hit movie. It really is. And they just keep coming at me with this bullshit. And again, this all all of this stems from being unlawfully dragged to family court with a woman I was never married with, had children with, or lived with. During this proceeding, judges straight up were caught lying on endorsements, gave contradictory statements that cannot be backed up by any evidence or facts. Another judge went behind my back, deleted and altered a 10-page endorsement down to one, which straight up constitutes as forgery and tampering with a government document. Another judge blocked out nearly 2 pages of transcripts, covering up a major judicial misconduct. This is judicial abuse 101. Canadian Judicial Council refuses to investigate. Seen the last video. They've dismissed all their complaints. Filing complaints against these people do not work. So I never heard back from Shane. So I start to do some research now, and I find out who their deputy crown is and their top crown attorneys are. Nikos Fazler, Robert Kenny, and Shane Hobson. I reached out to Nikos and Robert. On October 15th, Nikos responds, sends me a useless email and refusing to provide any help. I sent Mr. Frazler and Mr. Kenny an email on October 15th. Good morning, Mr. Frazler and Mr. Kenny. I am including both of you in this message as I understand you are the senior deputy crown attorneys for the Toronto West Crown's office. I am writing regarding a serious issue that came to my attention through correspondence from your office. An email linked to lawyer John David Ekpenyong was presented to me during a civil matter in March 2025 and entered as an exhibit. Your office later confirmed that you contacted Mr. Ekpenyong directly and he denied ever requesting or seeing that document. That contradiction alone raises serious concerns for me. An email. When I expressed the situation was unacceptable, communication from your office was abruptly discontinued. I have since been told that one of you, possibly Mr. Spare, instructed whoever was corresponding with me, Mr. Spare instructed whoever was corresponding with me to stop replying. If that is true, I'm deeply concerned about the integrity of this process. The facts as they stand suggest potential misconduct, including false statements, obstruction of justice, and possible breaches of professional duty by Mr. Ekpenyong. The document in question originated from was leaked through your office. It was never part of my official disclosure, and I can demonstrate that. I recently spoke with staff member named Scott. That might have been Shane, who appeared visibly distressed when this issue was raised, an indication that this matter was already be causing internal concern. Given the seriousness of the allegations and the potential impact of public trust in the administration of justice, I respectfully request that your office initiate a formal review or investigation into how this document was handled and how it came to be entered in a civil proceeding. I would appreciate the opportunity to discuss this directly. Please let me know a suitable time for a brief 15-minute phone call to ensure this matter is being taken seriously or addressed appropriately. Thank you for your time and consideration. And then I sent them the emails. And then, of course, they won't call me, right? They won't call me because they know I'm going to record the conversation and I'll share it with the public because that's what we have to do. Is to record these conversations with these people and share it with the public to see the kind of crap they're getting away with. I get a response from Nikos Fazler. Afternoon, Mr. Dobson. I previously reviewed your emails and directed staff responses to you. Mr. Ekpenyong's position that he didn't request nor receive the email correspondence in question from the Crown's office is consistent with my review of our file, in which there is no indication that anything from our file was shared with them. If you have any further information or concerns that you have not previously shared, you can send them to me in writing by email. I'll provide a response. Right? Like, this is the crap they're pulling with me. I sent them another email. I'll share that with you guys. Right. So I told him I think I'd escalate this to the regional crown attorney. Then he sends me an email, a snarky email, CC Shane Hobson. Mr. Dobson, you're welcome to escalate this to our crown attorney, Shane Hobson. His email is this. He is copied. I responded. He responded. I'll put that up here. Basically, they're saying that Ekpenyong said he never had this email, but it was an exhibit. So Nikos Fazler took the time to reach out to Ekpenyong and to ask him about how he got this email. He said he never got it. He never requested it. He denied it. Why is it so difficult for this Crown attorney who makes over $200,000 a year to simply follow up with Ekpenyong and to just ask him where he got the email? See, this is some fishy shit going on with these courts. And it's either the Kitchener-Waterloo Courthouse leaked this email, or this Toronto West Crown's office leaked the email. Somebody leaked it, and they're covering it up. You guys want to talk about cover-ups, major scandals? This is one right here, and this has been happening with these courthouses and these Crown attorneys. They're saying that this misconduct falls under the Law Society, which I reached out to. I shared this information with Chad Skinner, which I'm going to get into. He shared it with Christopher White, and then they just turned it back around saying, no, but it doesn't fall under their jurisdiction. So this is what they do. They just continue to pass the buck, right? They pass the buck, getting paid collectively $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 million a year, everyone that I've been dealing with, and this is what they're doing. This stuff needs to be investigated. So I'll put that email up. You guys can check it out. You can see what this guy is saying. I sent him an email October 15th. I said, Mr. Fazler, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring this directly to the attention of the Minister of Justice, even though I have no expectation that any action will be taken. All of this correspondence will be made public because it's in the public's best interest to see how inquiries like this are being handled. If the email presented at that civil trial, the same one I raised concerns about repeatedly, was ignored, then just as it seems to be ignored now by your office, there needs to be a clear explanation to how John David Ekpenyong obtained it. If that email was only ever sent to your office, then this is not a small issue. It raises serious questions about conduct, accountability, integrity of your office. If you won't even ask Mr. Ekpenyong again where he got that email, it sends a clear message that public servants within the justice system are themselves contributing to the erosion of its integrity. And to be clear, I won't be diverted to another colleague who simply will say, Mr. Fazl looked into it and deemed it not a problem. The criminal code makes these actions offenses. It is your office. If your office chooses to turn a blind eye, especially when the issue originated from within your own ranks, then we'll let the public decide and see how justice is being served by officials earning nearly $300,000 a year. I sent them another email. Basically, I'm going to put it up on the screen. You guys can see it. He's silencing me. I CC'd Shane Hobson. Just simply asking where did Ekpenyong get the email? And the last page just says there's two possible outcomes here. Either this matter is handled internally and transparently, or it will need to be escalated externally. That means 1, releasing this correspondence publicly to demonstrate the lack of accountability, or 2, retaining counsel in Ottawa to prepare a formal submission to Parliament Hill addressed to the Attorney General of Ontario, the Chief Justice of Ontario, and if necessary, the Minister of Justice and Chief Justice of Canada. I'd prefer to avoid that route entirely. All I'm asking is that you take a few minutes to confirm that Mr. Ekpenyong, where that email originated. Please provide an update before the end of the day. Okay, I think I'm being reasonable. So now I get an email from Shane Hobson. Okay. Mr. Dobson, this is on October 17th. Mr. Dobson, your requests have been dealt with to the best of our ability. You appear to be aware of other avenues of remedy for your complaint. They do not include contact this office. Continued correspondence with this office about this issue will not be viewed as productive or appropriate. Accordingly, going forward, no one from this office will be responding to you about this issue. Regards, Shane Hobson's Crown Attorney, West Toronto. See, this is the fucking corruption I'm talking about. And then you guys wonder why I'm upset and I'm making these videos. You got a top Crown attorney making $250,000 a year, and they fucking can't even lift up the phone and ask Ekpenyong where he got this email. It came from their office. Okay? And this guy, all he's saying is, oh, you know other avenues? How about you just do your fucking job and just call this lawyer? Why? Because you're a part of a cover-up. This is what's happening. If they cannot simply do this, then they are part of a cover-up. They are part of a scandal. These two courthouses, the Kitchener-Waterloo courthouse, is part of this. This is judicial abuse, malicious prosecution type of behavior. And this is what the public is paying for. These two Crown attorneys make close to $500,000 a year. The Crown attorneys and judges I've dealt with in the Kitchener-Waterloo courthouse, almost $2 million. And they're allowing Ekpenyong and they're supporting him to get away with this. Nobody should be surprised I'm upset. You know what? Anyone that's against me, go ahead. Go twist and turn these videos and try to compare this behavior with other imaginable behavior that you're going to try to do. This is abuse. This is public servant abuse. These are people who are working for the government, who are getting comfortable, and they're doing this stuff. And it's like, this should be seen as like some serious issues. These are live issues that need to be addressed. I was ignored by everybody, and still to this day, nobody knows where Ekpenyong got this email from. Okay? I believe someone in the courts gave him this email, and this is just another bizarre cover-up. John David Ekpenyong has been caught lying to several judges, prosecutors. Prosecutors state his charges of perjury and fraud in the Kitchener-Waterloo courthouse. The Law Society of Ontario sat on a complaint for 3 years. When they finally responded, they ignore the evidence, lying to judges, and never responded to the $310,000 in fraudulent court costs requested. And the Toronto West Crown's office simply refuses to question where Ekpenyong got this email that originated from their office. I sent this info to Chad Skinner, who is currently prosecuting John David Ekpenyong for similar behavior and to have his license permanently revoked. Chad Skinner, without communication, forwarded this info to Christopher White, who is in charge of all final complaint decisions. And Christopher White refuses to do anything. And he responded to me. He sent me a message on the portal, and he says that Ekpenyong's behavior basically doesn't fall under the disciplinary actions of the Law Society. And to go to the police. So the Crown's office says go to the Law Society. Law Society goes to the police. The police says file a private prosecution. It's this fucking retarded, vicious cycle of nobody wants to do their job. Everyone wants to get a nice fat paycheck, get their pensions beefed up, and they don't want to do simple jobs like picking up the phone and like doing simple things. Why? Because they're part of a cover-up. And it's just this is what it is. It is what it is, and it's just time to talk about it. Judges, prosecutors, Law Society of Ontario are all collectively in refusing to apply the rules and the laws they sworn to uphold and hold John David Ekpenyong for his indictable offenses. When you are caught lying to several judges and Crown attorneys, and you're a lawyer, you shouldn't get a pass. And these people are giving him a pass. They're encouraging this behavior by not disciplining him, by not addressing it, by ignoring complaints that are straight up indictable offenses. We're talking about a lawyer here that's supposed to be in good standing. The shit that this lawyer's gotten away with is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And I can't wait, honestly, one day till one of these investigative journalists actually has the balls to stand up and help get my story out. Because until then, I'm gonna keep doing it myself. And eventually, hopefully one day, these investigative journalists will have the courage to speak up and address these issues. All I want to know is simple. Where did John David Ekpenyong get this email? Okay? Nobody knows. Nobody wants to question, because this is like a major scandal. I'm dealing with several major scandals. The Attorney General refuses to talk to me. The Minister of Justice, the Canadian Judicial Council, the Law Society, judges, prosecutors, right? It's just interesting because you see these type of scenarios and it's like, well, if this guy's having a problem with all these people, he must be the problem. No, I'm calling out this bullshit. I'm calling out this corruption. Okay. I'm calling out this criminal behavior that this lawyer and his client has gotten away with. And you've got Kitchener-Waterloo's local senior judge, the only judge in Ontario from the Canadian Armed Forces, has been supporting this lawyer. And every other judge in that courthouse has followed directions of that endorsement. They cannot let me in. The prosecutors had to stay the charges when it was evident Ekpenyong submitted over $350,000 fraudulent court costs, committed perjury, leaving an application at my door, not confirming your motions. You know, there was six or seven affidavits, applications that weren't signed, were not signed, were not commissioned. This courthouse still accepted it. And there needs to be a huge overhaul in that courthouse. There needs to be a major investigation. And who's going to do it? The OPP? I don't trust the OPP. You guys have seen me dealing with the OPP, Rama Police, Waterloo Region Police, Halton Region Police. You can't trust the police. They don't want to enforce the law. These Crown attorneys, their job is to hold people accountable who have committed criminal offenses when there's substantial evidence. The Crown attorneys don't want to do that. Judges are allowing these applications to be accepted the way they are. The material, I was unlawfully dragged to family court. I was unlawfully dragged to criminal court. These people foolishly railroaded me, someone who is a tradesman, a blue-collar worker, union worker, paying top fucking taxes to these public servants. And then what do? They go around and hand out hundreds of millions to fucking Ukraine, hundreds of millions to the Palestinians, the refugees, the trans community, people, the social assistance shit. They're just handing out money and they're railroading me. This just doesn't make sense. This is what is going on in our courts, in our court system. And I got nothing to gain to lie, mislead, or bash anybody. I really don't. Everything I say is factual. And like I said, I just hope one day one of these civil liberties lawyers or these has the courage to speak up. The Attorney General needs to be held accountable for what's been happened to me. They can't even have a conversation with me and properly investigate this information. They're all collectively silencing me. I just want to go back to work. I just want to pay taxes. I just want to claim bankruptcy. I can't even fucking do any of that because of what these courts, the Law Society, these prosecutors are allowing this lawyer to get away with. And what they allowed my ex to get away with. And wait till I get into this whole motion of contempt, what this Ekpenyong is doing. Wait till I get into this lawsuit that he's filed against me. He is so psychotic. He is so deranged. He is so sick in the head that part of me feels bad for him. He's sick in the head. How he conducts himself. And yeah, this is a major scandal that I'm dealing with. And I'm just scratching the surface. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Me sharing all this crap I'm going through that I never anticipated ever going through. And, I just need support from the public. I'll be honest, I've got a family who's just absent. I've got a cousin who's an influencer. I have no help from my family, and that's okay. I'm used to being a lone wolf, but I'm really hoping that the public is going to start growing on my story and help me get my story out. Because I can't do this alone. I need the help from the public. So I'm going to leave the video right there. This is another video from Let's Talk About It. We trying to figure out where Ekpenyong got his little slimy hands on this email that he handed to me. You guys heard the story. It's insane. So we need to find out, where did Ekpenyong get this email? He's already lied to, like, you know what I mean? Like, you've seen who he's lied to. And we can't let this slide. We got to address this. So thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, share my videos, comment, like. Let's get a conversation going and let's talk about it. Thank you guys.